Hello, welcome to day 9 of 100 days challenge of coding and web development. This is my journey. I'm learning web development with you through this particular journey. I am very, very grateful that you choose to be with me. And on day 9, we are going to look a little bit more. We're going to expand the form, looking at more other things, because on day 8, we focused much on the input, looking at the types. Almost a couple of them, we looked at them. So today we're going now to expand and look at other possible elements that we can include in our form. Yeah, let's go to the code. Excuse me. All right. So on the part of the code, as we can see here, this was the day 8, which is not what we need today. So we're going to go with the day 9. And yep. Good. So say we're looking at the form. The first part we are going to start with is looking a little bit back in input or everything that you're going to use in form. There's a very important attribute that you need to remember if you're going to be dealing with if you're dealing direct with PHP, you need to remember that it's the name. There's this attribute called name. This identifies the particular input that you are sending to the server whatsoever. When you submit this particular form, whatever has been written here, so let's say full name, whatever has been written here, this is the one that is going to carry values that user will put into this particular form. That's why on input like text, we don't use the value because the value is expected to be given by the user. But on the submit, because this is going to do specific work, we use value to specify, to write exactly what this button is going to do. So if we look here, if I remove value, this input will be written submit. But if I add value, this will be empty, waiting for me to specify what exactly I'm trying to do. So I can say login. So here, if I put value here, let's say I say email, the user will need to delete this before they write any other thing, which is wastage of time. So mostly you can leave that, and there's other ways you can put a placeholder. Placeholder are texts that are placed within the input, but they will go automatic when the input is either they start to type or it get the focus. So it depends with which one you are using to specify that. But the value here will be assigned to the name. So as we are sending, if we submit this button, If we submit this button, let's say packet.php. If we submit this button, so I'll come here, I'll put my email, which is remy at youtube.com. If we submit this, you see they will take the full name, which is the name, this as a name, that is what they pick, full name. Then they will pass the value that I have provided as the value for that. So the server, whoever is going to make this particular script to control will look at the name that you are providing here. So you need to remember this very much, that the name matter most when you are dealing with forms and the like. Don't care about, I'm not stressing about what not found, I'm stressing on the top level here where we see. So, and if you remember the form here, if you don't specify the method, by default, it uses the get if you don't specify. But if you specify, and the get, you remember it's on day 8, I talked about taking the values from here, concatenated in here. And that's what we see here. We see the value has been concatenated there. Let me show you one thing. If I do this, and I go back, if I press submit, because there's no name, the value will not be taken. So I will be stressing that why it's not sending, because I haven't said the name here. I didn't add the name for that particular input. It's very important. You should make sure that all your inputs has the name attribute, and you know the name, the value within the name attribute, so that when you go to the server, whoever is going to do that, because maybe you are preparing the HTML, but someone else will deal with the code, so they need to know what they're coming. Even the submit here, if I wanted the submit to be part of the value that are being sent, I will give it a name. So I can say here, I say this is full name, and this is submit button. The moment I give it the name, it will exactly show up at the end of the day. And I come here, I say email of user, and then if I press submit, you see at the top here, they say email of the user is here, full name, and submit button. Key thing to remember, you provide a name for any element of form you put, that will be included in the submission of that particular form. You don't provide a name, that will not be included. That's what number one thing I wanted to say. So if you're making any form, remember to put the name of that particular form. Remember to give that form a name to remember. Remember to put the name of that particular form. Another thing that I wanted to introduce now, out of input, because we saw, but before I move out of input, there's input that you need to put value. There's input that you need to put value, because otherwise they are not going to be known. Input, we saw input like checkbox. Checkbox, it brings you the check, but you need to specify what value does that check carry. So here is where you say maybe don't know what I'm writing, but yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah. So you have that. Maybe you can add here female. Hmm. And there's this tag called BRR. I use this to get a new line. They use this a lot. I'm not using my friendly style of what? Hmm. All right. So I have this particular simple thing, and I gave them the value because as they can't get different value. What they check if they are checked. That's the condition. If they are marked, that is the rule to make them to be submitted. If they are not marked, then they are not selected. So if I mark it that and I submit that, I will get the gender female submit button. You see, they didn't take the male because male was not marked. If I go back here, I mark male and I submit, they will say the gender is male. I didn't. Now, interesting. I didn't put name here, so it will not. It haven't submitted the male gender because I didn't specify the name because the name is the one that carry the value. I think now you can see that my learning is interesting now. All right, so if I put name, I'll give it the same gender because they are calling the same thing and one at a time, and then we are good. So if I go back here, I mark that, I submit. I'm having the gender now is male. If you can see, I'm doing this at the top level here. So I think you need to see here. Where is my cursor? So follow my cursor on top here. Yeah, this is full name, email, gender, male. This is submit button. Majority, they don't give the submit button name because they don't want. So we'll leave that. But it depends with you. Some I have worked in different projects. Some of them they give the name. The button is given the name, and that depend on who is doing what. So we see now we can have differently according to what it or the code is doing. Let me check my time because I don't want to go out of time again. Good. I think I'm in good time. All right. So last part is the different input. There is two different, very common but different input. One is called text area. Text area gives you the big size where you can put multi-line text. Multi-line text means you can have more than one line. If you see a lot of input, they just give you one line. But multi-line text area give you the big size that you can write a lot of things. If you want to create a space where somebody can write email, you do that. Rule is the same. No matter what, it will need a name. because the name will help in calling the value of that particular element. ID is not necessary. I will not use it now. But the column is very important in rows. Columns, it talks about how far it can go this way. So if I put 130, it will go the way all over. If I want it to be maybe 90, and I say I need it to be bigger. Ooh, that's too big. Good. Good. So as you can see, I have email, gender, male or female, and there's a huge space, and there's submit button. If I submit, it will go according to what value. If there is no value, they will not carry that particular thing. You can see the only thing that was carried to the other level was that. I have to put the name here. Name should be message. What is the message? To be, yeah, good. I think this one of the things that was remaining, and with that we can be able to do as much as we can, and we can expand our particular code to depend on exactly what we want it to do. But before I finish, I should close with the drop down menu. Drop down menu is very commonly used, which instead of you using um, instead of you using checkbox, you can use drop down menu where somebody choose only one thing. It's almost the same, but also you have to specify the value. How do we make it? We make it within the same pattern. I think so. So we use select, and we give the name. After giving the name, which name can we give? This will be, I'll use also gender. No, country, because country, the one that most people use to highlight. You know, when you go to fill a form, you select, there's a drop down menu, you select a very long list, names of the country that you belong to. So there is, it's use option, and option specify the value that has to be shown. So here we can say you say, if you say the value, now let's go a little bit together. Think you're making a multiple choice question and you want people to use the drop down menu. If your answer are in a certain way, you need to know what the value is supposed to be sent to the server. In this case, I just need the name of the country. So I will say the value to be sent here, and here I will say the value to be showed to the user. So here I will say USA. Good. Option 2, Burundi. And here I will say Burundi. Option 3, Malawi. Malawi, I would say Malawi. Good. So what I'm saying here is if somebody will choose this as a country, they'll be given that as a country. All right. So another quick note is if you prefer, you can say You can say option uh, without value, and here you say select your country. So this option is not having a value. So when whoever will place that will not be sent because the value will be having the name will have no value. But wherever there is value, then somebody can select that, can be able to send that. So US, Burundi, Malawi, Tanzania, things like that. This thing I haven't done any special thing to make them look like that, apart from writing exactly the way they're supposed to be written on this particular note. There's no smart thing that I have done so far, just by apart from taking the way it's supposed to be written and write it here. That's all. That's why coding is so easier, because most of the thing we do, they're almost there. Yeah. We don't create things from there. Yeah, we just need to know what we want and use what is there. Let's leave that story for another day. Good. So I think these are the things that I wanted to make sure that we are together. If I go and submit this, I will say mail, and I will say here will be message, please call mom. Which country? I didn't specify that, and I want to show you our get, which has been there. So they have sent this particular information: full name, email, gender, cells, things like that, and it's well prepared. If I want otherwise, I can have differently accordingly. I'm trying to find the list of the words that they sound the same, but yeah. So I don't know, why should I stress about that? There's no reason, right? There's no reason. I think my time is up. Yeah. So for this lesson, I think we are done. We are done. With this, we are closing the form, and going forward, we are starting another language. So thank you very much. On day 9, we have completed HTML. We are able to do something with HTML. We are able to combine the things which I will do on tomorrow, which is day 10. I'll combine everything together to make something before we move to another lesson. Thank you very much. It was so good, so good to be with you.